They're really trimming out his champion pool, and even in that regard, Macko will probably leave the counter pick open for Haha as well. So let's see. No, we'll leave it at 4 mid lane bans, and the other one will go over to Bjorn, which has been a stable champion in the LFL in terms of line picks. So yeah, second ban phase for Macko completed.
Yeah, watch Juggler now like something completely weird and still go 10-0 and feel like those 4 bans were really wasted in the end. The guy can do it all, but let's see what GameWard will round out with. So another ban up against Acity, his Renekton now also being taken off the table.
So looking at a Renekton ban coming through could mean you're just looking for a straight up Sejuani. Yeah, and since then the other team is picking first, maybe they'll grab the Sejuani for themselves. Nara is still up if you want to play it into it. Obviously, it has seen some nerfs and does not have the same power that it did in the earlier patches that we had. Even Sejuani will have kill pressure on it. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think from a mid lane point of view, you can straight up just go for a normal control mage if you're looking to just secure a normal playstyle front to back, as we've seen so many times from GameWard. And even then, tanks are still available if you're looking for backline to come through here. Even Malphite could be a possibility, despite it not being too much AD damage. Just having that extra lockdown on a Seri with already what you have here, right? You see it, the Nautilus, the Vi, the dive in with the Vex as well. So I would love to see something that wants to follow up in that regard should a team fight break out. And Aatrox also has the ability for that with the movement speed and dashes in his kit.
So now on to Macko's side. Haha. What is optimal for him? Does he want to go something supportive that can try and help Rarish? Does he want to add damage himself? What do you feel will be an optimal pick here for him?
Well, into the Vex, normally one of her biggest weaknesses is just the fact that she can get pushed out and roamed in the early game. But now the problem for Macko is a lot of these champions have been banned by themselves as well. And instead, they're going to take the approach of actually just roaming around. This is a team composition straight up just built for peeling Rahish. And then, of course, you can go in with the Malphite and the Galio on top of C-Boy when he's looking for the engagers. But a very traditional front to back coming out from Macko. Yeah, surprising to see, but nonetheless exciting.
It wouldn't be a Macko draft without a little bit of a spice thrown into the end. Galio, man, that's been a while since I've really seen him go into the mid lane for competitive play. Regardless, the big thing for me here is to take away, C-Boy is back on an actual jungler where he can have an impact. He was really struggling in that first game on the Shaco, didn't end up working out. The MVP of summer 2021 for Macko there in the PG Nuts will have to show what he's made of. But overall on the draft, how do you feel Macko got away here? Because I really like what GameWard has going on, let's be completely honest.
I mean, I feel like both teams have something they can be happy about. I might think it's a little easier executing the team composition you have on GameWard. It just feels like it's built to shut down Seri with the amount of lockdown you have. You already got the Nautilus ultimate, then you have the Vi ultimate on top. There's a Vex follow-up too. If you blow up the AD carry immediately and you have a Sivir to play for, it doesn't really matter that there's so much peel from the side of Macko because Sivir is very slippery and there's not the exact lockdown you're looking for in terms of just shutting her down. So I feel like if we go to the late game and everyone's just sitting at 4-5 items, GameWard should be the team kind of going forward. But I feel like on the other end, there's a lot of playmaking potential as well from Macko that you can't take away from them. And specifically Haha, I think there's a lot of pressure on his shoulder in terms of finding some of these plays and windows that can be punished.
And that's what I want to ask you about as well, because we mentioned the biggest strength and their biggest weakness is their draft. Do you think they have thrown anything away here in terms of the draft? Or do you think, you know, they've actually done a bit of a mastermind on the draft?
I mean, I think we'll have to see that for ourselves. If I have to just log in and play either of these supports right now in the game, I'd probably just put myself in Camillea's footsteps and play the Nautilus. I find it interesting with the 2v2 as well. If you go for the Glacial and you have the Nautilus, if Yuumi ever dismounts, you can literally just flash on her immediately. She can't root or go to a host because she's obviously been CC'd. And then there's Glacial Race on her. You can follow up with a hook afterwards and she should just be dead. So I think for Click, playing this laning phase, it sounds weird saying this about a Yuumi, but there's actually some caution that he needs to take, and he needs to be careful whenever he dismounts.
And with that first blue starting up, it will be both junglers starting on the blue side. Is there any way in lane in particular we should be focusing on here in the early game, GameWard, to expect some action later?
I mean, I think for the side of GameWard, there's not really too many plays where you're looking for playmaking. I actually think, and it's going to sound weird, but there's good playmaking potential for the Macko top lane if they want to, just due to the fact that you have Wukong, who can stack up the Sejuani passive so easily, and against a champion like Aatrox, who is not that tanky and does not have the lifesteal to sustain himself in the early game, you could look for something, especially when Acid has gone for the Ignite. But from the side of GameWard, they really just want the slow pace early game where they keep the tracking going on C-Boy. If they can locate him on the first 3 clears, well, then they don't really have to worry about anything. They can reach up to level 6 where they really come online.
Yeah, and as the Dredge Flying connects down in the bot lane, a small trade will unfold. Good amount of damage coming through from the side of GameWard, particularly onto Rarish, as he will take a little bit of a hit there. C-Boy, in terms of his pathing, has gone from taking full clear down on the bot side, but then instantly onto the red. Might be looking for a little bit of a cheesy gank, or maybe going towards his Croc afterwards, as Akabane has made his way down to his own red buff himself.
Yeah, but I also think that's good early intervention coming through from Chekolat. He just crashed a wave, moved over to the Raptor area, put down a ward. He probably would have gotten more info if he placed the ward just over the Raptor wall, but I think Haha was in a position to kind of deny that a little bit. But should C-Boy walk into the river now, then they would have the intel, and then immediately Melonic and Chekolat would know what's about. Down towards the bot side. They could be looking for a gank here.
Yeah,
no cleanse available for Rahish.
Very big wave here stacked up as GameWard now step up and want to get the kill. Ghost already popped. The exhaust comes through as well, but the dive looks to be clean as Camillus flashes away from the last turret shot and barely survives. Inax, one more hit, not quite enough. The cat left alone. Might be turned into some food here in just a moment, as Akabane will tank the turret and he will be able to make his way out. Clean dive from GameWard.
Yeah, it's brilliant from GameWard here. Really punishing on the fact, no cleanse to flash out of replay immediately. It's a stacked up wave. C-Boy's pathing up towards the top side. He's already found out. And just like that, 2 kills go over to GameWard. Brilliant from them.
The kills also on Inax, probably the most important carry this game. We've seen him take over games on the server as we look to watch that dive one more time.
On the replay, once again, just brilliant that Camillus is the one tanking it up immediately, can flash out. Exhaust came down on Akabane quite early while he was charging it, and I think good on him for keeping the patience to hold it up. And now with the tower shots, I think you want to wait 4 seconds before the tower shot passive resets, where the turrets won't hit like a truck, and you can see they display that there once again with great patience coming out from Akabane before they go for the engage.
I didn't actually know that. Very nice info, good boys. I do also want to talk about GameWard for a little bit. Having a chat with Rudy, one of the LFL casters as well, in the English, of course. He mentioned GameWard was one of the best thinkers of LFL, being very smart to know their own strength and their team or opponent's weaknesses as well, as we do have to keep our eyes on that top lane trade as Melonic. It's just a very good trade here as it.
Yeah, I'll say that they are until they aren't, because sometimes they can definitely get overconfident and maybe stop thinking too much. I think they give the respect to their opponents that need it, and sometimes they forget to give it to the teams that maybe shouldn't have it. It's difficult to say because they did lose to some of the bottom end teams in the region. They were one of the first teams to lose to Upland as well, which was one of the doom teams of LFL. But for now, after the struggles they've had in the regular season, after having to play through play-ins, they have a good start to their second games of the main states at least.
Have been looking very good, and while this might be the organization's first Amazon European Masters, these players definitely know what it takes to make it far. Akabane and Melonic have both made it to the semi-finals before only losing to Carmine Corp, and Chocolate has won the whole thing with their go-row.
Oh, missed out on a ward here, so they will get the info that someone's coming for an invade. C-Boy not really respecting it so far.
Getting up for now, but you can feel the tension is high. This focus on the bot lane from GameWard really paying dividends, as the first Drake has also spawned, but C-Boy will look for a gank in the meantime. The cat is on top of Rarish, a bit of extra damage for Camillus. Doesn't have the flash after the earlier dive. Good turnaround from Inax though, C-Boy low. Same with Rarish. Akabane has the flash, has the Q. The kill might come through as he flashes for the extend.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Gets them both, it's fantastic. Shadow Surge to get another. It's 3 kills for GameWard.
And that's just beautiful from Akabane as well. Overextension from Macko, not respecting the fact that he was going to be around the area once they engaged. If you don't blow up a target immediately, well, we saw what happened. Akabane comes around, and I love the E from the wide air to pick up the target afterwards. Great engage coming through. Still had the flash from the exchange earlier, and then Chekolat to finalize on that play. It's 5 kills to 0 currently in this game.
Might be taken back to the Amazon European Masters planes, because this is looking like Inax's game up against Bisons. This could go very wrong very quickly. Good boss, we look at it one more time.
I mean, you just don't have a lot of engage or anything to lock anyone down. You have a Yumi, so as soon as this happens, you need to bail out immediately. Akabane gets spotted on a ward, but the retreat is just way too late. And look at the flash once again. The buy E to pick up the kills there, and then the boomerang still in the air from Inex to pick up the kill. Chocolat comes along just to finalize that play, and it's just beautiful.
So if you're Macko now, you have kind of lost the bot lane in that sense. You're 1.5k behind already on your AD carry. What is C-Boy's next move? How can he try and get something back here for the side of the line?
I mean, now you have the counter response. Cooldowns are down just for a little bit, at least from Chocolat's side, where Haha still has his cooldowns available. Should they look for Skirnews anywhere? On the top side of the map, I still think they can look for plays. They have the aggressive summoner spells in the Ignite. But the bot lane right now, well, you gotta put it on ice. You need to get this Seri back into the game, just stabilize her. Don't look necessarily for any plays there, but make sure that she's allowed to play the game, because Inax might be put in a position when as soon as he finishes up that first mythic, the Kraken Slayer, they're gonna need help.
I think they're already gonna need help regardless. Rough early game here for Macko, who are already really looking to grasp at some straws. Maybe a Herald could turn it around, but as we see, the priority in the top lane is for Melonic. In the mid lane, it's also for Chocolat, so Akabane will start it up as soon as it's born.
Yeah, Camille's out on a walkabout as well, looking to pay Haha a visit.
Oh, the Dread Flying catches him out of the heroic punch. Haha, pretty tanky, so he is still able to walk it out. That's pressure, and that's control for the side of GameWard.
And that's the problem, right? You can have a winning top side. Not saying that Macko have it right now, but in the theory of it. But if enemy bot lane suddenly has won their lane, then they can always set their support out first. And when that happens, well, they can just create that man advantage on the top side and still win out on, for example, a Herald play instead. But on the bot side, C-Boy should be able to pick up the first neutral objective in the Infernal Drake that he's currently soloing.
Yeah, so that's the silver lining of the play that happened before down bot lane. Akabane had started up this Drake, but then dropped it to go and get 3 kills for GameWard, so obviously a massive win for them, but it means Macko is able to get something back here, and they have just lost the Herald. And speaking of the Herald, let's see if Camille hits this hook though. Shouldn't be in range, the glow.
The glow will always be there. So yeah, I think the big problem that...
Oh, he's going for this blue, man. Just accept it, leave it. Akabane is just, well, you don't want to do this, C-Boy, as he finally gives up and gives that blue buff over. But talking about the Herald War, where is Akabane's best way to put it? To just try and get Inax even further ahead and get him that first item as soon as possible.
I mean, I think that you should just move Chocolat down towards the bot side right now instead. And then since you knew you just force C-Boy away from the lane with him being low HP and Haha and reset timers, I think you had a window where you could have used the Herald right there and just pick up the first Suri if that's what you're looking for. Instead, Chocolat's going to push in the mid lane now. Kabane is going to clear out his spot side camps, and he's just going to be on the Fog of War in the top side of the map. Not looking for play, but it forces Acidi to kind of step back just a little bit. And he cancels it with Haha moving off.
Chocolat, personal space, will give that personal space, as he also had the flash available if he really ended up needing it. Now though, C-Boy might be looking for a play here. There is a control in the other bush, or he will have to walk through this try one, as Frozen Tomb, or Glacial Prison rather, will be available for Acidi if he wants to go for it. He's down to half HP. World Ender available as well. This might be a desperation play, but you also see Chocolat and Akabane on their way towards the bot lane, so soon it could be disaster down there for Macko.
Yeah, this was the play I talked about just before that they had a window to commit to. Now they can still do it. And they don't even need to deploy the Herald just yet. Keeping this bot lane turret alive with Rarish forced away from it just essentially means that he's going to be losing out on farm, gold, and experience. So keeping the turret alive for now is very beneficial, seeing as there's still 4 minutes before the turret plating is going to fall off.
And I kind of want to zoom out and mention, in the game against GameWard and Gank down in the Amazon European Master Plans Knockout, they did this exact thing to Tiger and Rooks down in the bot lane, putting a Yumi and a Seri behind. But the problem is, at that point, Royal Cannon was playing Azir mid lane. He was scaling, and he ended up becoming a huge factor in the game. This time, your mid laner is a tank, Galio. Yes, you'll do some damage buying a bit of AP, but if your AD carries it behind, you don't have any late game insurance in the mid lane to try and bring yourself back. This is looking very dark at the moment for Macko.
It's certainly difficult. They haven't really been able to get anything much out of that Infernal Drake, and even when we fast forward to the second Infernal, or the second Drake, that'll be spawning in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I don't think GameWard's going to let them be in a position where they actually can pick that up. So I think they are running a little bit on a timer, just in the regard that now the GameWard has moved into the bot lane and the mid lane, they still have the Rift Tower available. And yeah, there you have it. They're just going to commit to the play.
More plates and more gold for Inax and C-Boy alongside Click will be here to try and defend alongside Haha, but Akabane will simply watch it go in. That's the gold over to both Chocolate and Akabane. More gold from Melonic up on the top side as well. This goal lead is ballooning over into the favor of Game.
I mean, you can already see it. Inax is sitting with a 2.5k gold lead.
My God.
On the top side, Melonic naturally is sitting on a 1k gold lead as well. Even in the jungle, there's a big discrepancy. So, yeah, it's very difficult for Macko at all, but great play coming out from GameWard once again.
Final chapter is available if they want to try and lock Chocolate up, but Camillus, Inax, both on the way. Flash already out for Chocolate. He might go down, and that's the first kill for Macko. But let's see what GameWard can get back eyes on Inax. He has 1.5 items already. Rarish, though, actually stacking up good damage, both 2 kills back in the favor of GameWard will mean they can clean up the fight. You have to think, as Rarish flashes forward, he wants Inax. Sorry, Gaming, baby, no! The dredge line from Camillus stops the fight and gives GameWard the win.
So GameWard still gets that one, but at least Varish picked up a few of the kills there, and he got some gold back into this game. Shutdown coming through on Inax too, so that's certainly going to be something you can spend in the bank. But you see how difficult the fights become, but I like the productivity from Macko.
We want to take that time to give you guys a very important bit of information after this week.
Comes out, and I think you can see Click is trying to predict the flash coming through. Unfortunately for him, the patience coming out from Chocolate is great. Click gets dismounted, he gets knocked off by the Nautilus ultimate, and therefore is not able to get back on the host. Had the Vi ultimate from Akabane been on the Seri immediately, maybe the play would have unfolded differently, but they wanted to secure C-Boy before he went back into the clone, and that allowed Ragisha to at least pick some things up in that team fight.
So here are the breaking news as we come out of that replay. Don't forget to claim your Prime capsules, ladies and gentlemen. I have a very important announcement. In a couple hours, it will go from the August one to the September one. So if you haven't claimed your August one, you can do it now. In a couple hours, you'll get your September one. And what do you get? RP, Mythic Essence skins, Eternals, Champions. It's got everything. Why not claim it?
It's actually broken.
Yeah, it is.
Not gonna lie, the value of it is actually kind of insane, and I'm not even saying that because I'm like here. Well, as we get to the second Drake of the Amazon European Masters, it is a mountain Drake to fight against here, and once again, GameWard in a position to completely just own this objective for themselves. Macko, not much is left open for them on the map, and fighting a team fight from the get-go, where it's just 4 versus 4. Well, I don't think they're going to be having the same kind of success that they just had in the previous fight down in the bot lane.
Amazon big play there as GameWard managed to take that first Drake of the game, giving 9% extra resistances, both in the armor and magic resist category, for every single member on the team, as the Ocean Soul has claimed the Rift. Does this benefit any team? Is it something they're happy with in terms of the Soul?
I mean, I think that they're quite happy about it on GameWard, especially when you're behind. Having that extra health regen in a team fight is really going to be difficult for Macko to deal with when they haven't even completed the items that they really needed, or they're playing on the same curve. Surprising to see that Macko, though, is actually allowed to gain control of the topside area here with the Rift Tower. So resets came through after taking the Drake. Question is, can the rest of GameWard come around this objective before Macko finishes off?
Not many summoners here, but Camillus has them both, so he could pretty much pick out a target. Rarish, no Ghost, no Flash, will have a hard time escaping a cease and desist as here comes the World Ender. Will at the very least get the Herald. C-Boy still in the pit though, with Click on him, going in for the fight. They get onto 3. Here comes the Heroes entrance down as they slam on top of GameWard. Chocolate looks for Rarish, but he'll be locked up with the Glacial Prison. The fight still alive. Rarish down to about 20% HP, but Chocolate falls. Melonic will be the one who has to do the damage. He'll try and slam down on Rarish, but he kites around. He'll get Akabane. That's 4 on the side of Macko.
Yeah, big mistake for GameWard. They have so much CC in their toolkit, but none of it is being used on the series. So Raish is allowed to just sit in the background and deal out the damage. Once again, a team fight where it goes kind of even, but considering Macko is this far behind, them trading even right now is positive for them.
What happened to Inax?
He got blown up. C-Boy found a brilliant engage. I think as we take a look at it. As we take a look at the replay, we'll see what unfolds, but it's great teamwork between Haha and C-Boy in terms of setting up that engage.
That's the Danish Dynamite. What else can I say, man? But much else to add there as very surprising and very good engage. Really what they needed to be able to win a fight. And let's look at it one more time. Eyes on Inex.
Honestly, I thought it was really dire for C5 because I thought he was going to get found out immediately. But yeah, you have knock up immediately, no flash, you get CC down, lost chapter on top of it. And that's really just how they finalized like that immediately. Great front line. It's just beating Rahish as soon as all the CC has been exchanged. To the point where even when Melonic flashing forward, or Seri of course dashing over the wall, able to pick up a kill against Akabane. I think in total, 4 goes down over in GameWard, which of course Mochko is very happy about.
Very surprising as GameWard will manage to pick up that second counter of the game, but the goal lead still very much in GameWard's favor. It is, I think it's 2.2k on the AD carries, it's almost 2k in the mid lane, 2.5 down up in the jungle. I'm very impressed by how Macko managed to win that fight.
But even with them winning that fight, when it comes to playing the map, they're still so far behind. Riftel now also in inventory of GameWard, which is going to make matters even more difficult for them. But with the way they're positioning right now, they could try and look for a team fight once again. They have a lot of cooldowns open. The only one who doesn't have the ult right now is Haha. And with the threat being there and the vision control not in the favor currently of GameWard, or they're backing off just a little bit.
Team fighting so far has been great from Macko as they will cover Acity up here in the top lane, make sure he doesn't get caught out in any sense of the word. 1.5 minutes until the next break. Is this the tactic for Macko Gulbo? Just force a fight regardless of how far behind they are?
Honestly, I was thinking in my head as well, this might just be a game where you just keep forcing, and just catch GameWard off guard every single time. Because if they're not allowed to create their set plays when they have a gold lead, and you just blow a fight up where they're not expecting it, it could just be what gets you back into the game. It's what been so successful for them so far, at least in terms of finding the members. But the problem for them right now is that if you want to blow Inex up again, now he has to flash. You need to force that away somehow. So matters is most certainly more difficult than they were in this scenario before.
And on the positive side for Macko, Rarish also has his sums, but they won't be as important considering the immobility of Sivir. And the point and click CC coming through from GameWard, that's my main question. If they throw that on the Rarish, is he healthy enough to survive? Can he survive that? Because he needs to. He needs to be alive. He needs to be able to deal the damage for an extended period of time. Without that, they simply won't have enough damage to win the fight. So eyes on the AD carries, and that kind of feels like what the meta has been moving towards with the recent changes.
It feels weird as well, because it feels like it's GameWard who should be trying to force a lot of these fights. I'm just saying, if I had an AD carry who is 1 item and a half ahead currently, I'd be running into the enemy jungle 24/7, trying to gather up some of that vision control, trying to force them away. But it's actually Mochko that's been allowed to look plays all the time, and they're actually trading here. Might even look for a dive on Melonic.
Yeah, pretty ambitious though, in my eyes, as the world ender is available. He could heal up for a very good amount, but Acity simply too tanky. Big shutdown over to Sivir.
Yeah, so Mochko is still allowed to look for plays. Here comes the counter response though. Those are 3 members on the top side. Riftel just deployed in bot lane. Let's see how much they can get.
That's one turret, the mid lane turret will fall as well, as it's only Rarish there to try and defend it. Can't really do anything about this charge, so that's 2 charges with Shirley, as it will be 1.5 turrets, 2.5 turrets. I just forgot that one in the mid lane as well. Acity should be able to get 1 turret up back here, but still overall, GameWard get a lot back considering they only lost 1 in the top.
Yeah, but this is how the trade should be going when you're this far ahead. If you're Mochko and you're just responding to plays like that, you should be losing out. So you can only look for so much. So them fighting a shutdown at least and a turret on the top side, is still something that gives them a little bit in a map state where they probably shouldn't get too much.
Akabane will secure that second Drake. It turns to be even more into the favor of GameWard, as it was a trade they can be proud of. It is an 8k gold lead at the moment, Gulbo, and it is a very big gold lead, but it doesn't feel 8k big in my eyes, considering how these team fights have played out. It feels like the game is still very much alive, but we'll have to wait and see for the next fight as Rarish finally takes over to that level 11, able to get the lightning crash up 1 more point. And Inex, he's the one we need to look at, but on the side of GameWard as well, I'm thinking for the engagers, Chocolate and Akabane might be crucial to see if they can lock down Rarish.
Oh, most certainly. And I think Akabane has had a stellar series so far as well. Remember, a lot of the reason the early game is going so well is because of that bot lane coming in, dive coming in the beginning, and then his plays around the map as well, responding to it. 11 kills he's been part of, so 100% kill participation coming through him with the bot lane as well. So these 3 members have just been the trifecta running around creating plays. And I think now that Baron has spawned, you want to get more aggressive on the top side of the map. You want to sweep away all the defensive vision that Mochko can lay in that red side jungle, and you want to own that. There is 10 seconds until enemy red respawns, you should be looking to contest that. You should be trying to look for fights around that small objective, just because it's something that Macko shouldn't be allowed to have. And yeah, it gets started, C-Boy looks for it, GameWard gets aggressive. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, C-Boy will at the very least be able to secure the red. Doesn't actually donate it over to Rarish. Surprisingly, yes, Chekla will do a little bit of poke for Haha. Baron, obviously on the cards as we have reached behind that 20-minute mark. And it has been a quiet couple of minutes, and that means pretty much every single summoner spell in the game is back up. You already mentioned how important the Flash and the Cleanse is for Inax, but for Camellias as well, the Flash Ignite, the opportunity to try and lock down Rarish as well and find a pick very much alive for both teams with all the summoners available.
Most certainly. So the reason why they had to back off there was because Acidi had moved up from the bot to top as well, while Melonic was still pathing down towards the bottom lane instead, so he couldn't really look for too much. And now, once they've finally gotten more stable lane states, with now Acidi back in that bottom lane, they can get aggressive on the top side. Looking for C-Boy potentially.
It's being locked up, but that's a good clone. Oh, that feels bad, man. That's the Deadline Death Charge and Flash as well. They got the Civil as well, man. Oh, I feel bad.
They get a few summoners that way. It's not the way that I imagined Macko was forcing summoners out of GameWard, but either way, it happens.
That's an Amazon big say, baby.
Still in a good position, and yeah, even Camellia's out with the farms up.
And looking at the items, I think we should turn our eyes towards that Melonic. I see that 2-item spike, 2 items on Akabane as well. But for the carries here of GameWard, they are getting very close to very big 3-item spikes. Rapid and Death Cap almost there for Chocolate. Down in the 80 carry position. Look at Inax, he's building towards an IE. So those carries will really take their damage up a notch when they get that 3rd item.
Yeah, despite the goal lead that GameWard has, the pace of the game is quite slow. They want to take this simple and secure. At least that's what it looks like. 3 items have just been picked up by Inax now. He's got that Infinity Edge. He's an item ahead of the enemy 80 carry. Surely this is where we'll see them get aggressive.
They have to. This is such a peculiar game, Gulbor, considering how massive this goal lead is. But maybe after the negative experiences GameWard have had of being a little bit too over-eager in the playing stage, when they were making these aggressive plays. When they were ahead, they were a bit too cocky, making some mistakes, and they don't want to repeat that as C-Boy looks for something, but he gets almost deleted. Akabane could look for it here as the cease and desist comes through. The Shadow Surge will connect as well, and Chocolate will take one, but quickly it's turned around, and then Inax though, 3 items in his back pocket, and he'll try to fit his team in there as well in this fight as Rarish still has the goals by GameWard. Want to disengage, they don't want to go for more as they've already lost the fight.
How did they continue to trade even? I am baffled that Macko is in this game. They're 8k behind, and in the 3v3, they just still back off. Of course.
I really can't believe what I'm witnessing here as GameWard are actually being pushed a bit despite being that 8k ahead, and with Drake spawning in 40 seconds, we might potentially see a trade in the objectives as we look at the overextension here coming through from GameWard.
Yeah, so C-Boy thought he could go on onto a target, but great stuff from Chocolate to knock him down immediately. Might potentially be a little bit of an overextension coming through from Chocolate, considering that the TP is very late from Melonic as well as to when the plays gets facilitated. Acidi there beforehand, and that really just creates a good front line from the side of Macko to play around. 4 versus 3, and GameWard, they just back off immediately. Drake now spawning in less than 10 seconds. Could potentially look for another fight.
Guardian Angels with Akabane, so he can overextend and be resurrected if he really feels like it. Acidi though, very much a tank, and he's an important player in this team to soak up the damage from Inax, but that's the sort of point being taken down in the moment. As we talk, and Haha, C-Boy or anyone really get in the pit to contest. 3k HP still dropping, they don't have vision over C-Boy. Can't get the smite, and now that's a hook onto Acidi, who's forced to go golden. Rarish already down to half in some way. Not really sure how that happened as they now try and turn around the fight yet again. Chocolate with the Shadow Surge on the edge of the fight. It's Inax already picking up on Rarish. You have to do it, but your team has just evaporated before your eyes, and now you will fall. The cat will be for dinner, and that's an ace for GameWard.
Ace finally comes through from GameWard. They manages to finalize the opponent of Macko. And now what are you looking for? Baron on the cards, 20-second death timers for C-Boy, 30 on the rest of GameWard. Is now looking for that Baron instead.
Go for the Baron L-Secure. There's no one there to stop them, and after so many fights that somehow went to Macko's favor, it finally looked like a fight where you could see the GameWard was 10k gold ahead.
Yeah, this looked like, as you just said yourself, how it should look like. Muchko, they want to try at least to see if there's some avenue for C-Boy to come in and try and get that Drake for themselves. And when the engagement comes through, they want to blow up the target immediately with the Galio ultimate. I think, unfortunately from them, it's Menolik they're looking for. C-Boy went onto the backline with his ultimate, and they're not focusing down one target. They kind of split the damage, and that's a big problem when you're so far behind. So as soon as all the tools you have in your arsenal has been used, and the rest of GameWard is sitting with that gold lead that they of course have, then you will just get picked apart as we saw in the fight.
The AoE damage from Inox really shredding through anybody. It doesn't matter if you're building 3 tank items, which is the case for Izzy. You still get melted underneath those boomerangs. Inox are looking to go for the 4th as well. A lot of Dominic's Regard will be the next one up as the Amazon Baron power play is truly on the way. 1.6k gold already gained, and they will take Muchko's top side as well.
And now it's just playing on 2 lanes. No need to care about that bot lane. If GameWard or Muchko wants to send members down there, well, they're just going to be losing on the plays elsewhere on the ramps. So you can see it. Chocolat pushing in the mid lane now on the top side. Melonic leading in a way. Vacity trying to stop them.
Locked up for a while, might be able to dash out. He can still survive a lot of damage. Remember, but that's a Shadow Surge. Straight into the front line. C-Boy low. Haha, golden, but what can you really do, Muchko? You're too far behind. This game might be all doom and gloom unless Rarish finds some miracles. Yeah, the lightning crash is already used, but it will run out. That's the fight, and it's just GameWard continuing to dominate.
You can see they're just waiting out the Seri ultimate. Then as soon as it's down on cooldown, well, they advance their troops immediately.
He has to dash away here. Needs to be careful of the damage. Doesn't have much in terms of magic resist to check. I can do a lot of damage to him, and he's gone. Akabane will pick it up. There's no real frontline now. Only C-Boy. Barish, no lightning crash, as we just talked about. It has run out. GA still available. This could be the game. And it certainly will. I mean, that's just clean. Fair play, Chocolat, man. Hats off, Flash, personal space. Nexus turret 1 the target, Nexus turret 2 the target. And I mean, GameWard, they're just showing the strength of the LFL. Because that's their 4th seed that will go 2-0 here at the start of the Amazon European Masters main event.
Yeah, there we have it. Still playing around, still playing for a little bit more KDA, and Chocolat will have it too. 7, 3, and 10 on the Vex, and it's just a dominating game coming through from GameWard. A bit sloppy, but in the end they pick up their pieces and they manage to take a 29-game victory here. And I think